Hi. I wanted to get into Rahu and Ketu. I tried my best to explain the rising and descendant, as well as the north and south nodes. I hope that I was basically, not so all over the place, but basically so that when you look at your birth chart, you kind of know what you're looking at, okay? And how it explains everything else. So I did have to click off, and that's why I couldn't continue the video. So I'm going to talk about Rahu and Ketu, okay? So this is still the continuation of part 5 for birth charts. And I had talked about Vedic sidereal astrology, and how Rahu and Ketu is pretty much the north and south node, okay? I said, just for a preview, not preview, but a review, that my north node happens to be in Sagittarius. Now, having your north node in Sagittarius means that was the entrance of my spirit, my soul. That was the entryway. And what do I mean by entryway? Well, let's go back to this drawing. Aries is the morning. Capricorn is the northern, the noon, morning, noon. Libra is the dusk, when the sun falls, not literally falls, but when it's setting. And then we have Cancer, which is midnight. All right, so these are all cardinal signs, by the way. These are the cardinal signs of the zodiac. Cardinal sign is taking action, all four of these signs are all about taking action. Okay. Now, I was born for all of us, not just me, all of us, Mars and Saturn was just basically at the pivotal moment of where my soul entered. And my soul entered as a Pisces. Okay? I did say that, right? So that was my rising sign, which makes my descending sign the opposite polarity of Pisces is Virgo. So I have Pisces and Virgo in my personality. I do. And what does Virgo represent? Well, Virgo represents, sorry folks, because I have everything here and I want you to see what Virgo represents. I already went into Pisces, so I'm not going to go back to Pisces because I had to click off. But I'll show you what Virgo represents. It's Earth. It's an Earth sign, right? Earth sign means pretty much you're rooted. It represents the workforce. Represents, it represents or rules. Either way, I'm trying to say that the same thing. It rules the workforce. It rules motivational speaking. Okay. It rules basic necessity, the mundane things of life, domestic or household. That's what Virgo rules. Okay. Mercury. Okay, this is Mercury, the planet of Mercury, Virgo. Mercury represents Virgo. All right, so that's my descendant. Pisces and Virgo. And then my north node, I had explained before I had to click off, I was a Sagittarius, right? My north node, my MC, my Rahu, which is basically the same thing. In Vedic sidereal, north node is Rahu. So Sagittarius. And my south lunar node, my south node, which is Ketu. Ketu. What is the opposite of Sagittarius? Gemini. Okay. So my spirit, my soul, both represent Sagittarius and Gemini. What is Gemini? Well, Gemini represents family, friends, also mutable sign. It's an air sign, basically. But it's also mutable. It represents intelligent. That's what air represents. One of the things. Gemini represents family, friends, community. Okay. It also represents your environment, how you grew up. It's a big factor. And your outward personality. So if I go out sometimes and my Sagittarius and my Gemini comes out a lot when I go out. I could talk, but I you know, that's what Sagittarius and Geminis do. They're talkers, they're charmers, they're, you know, social butterflies. You know, they could talk about anything. And the fact that my sun is in Scorpio, I mean, we could now we could talk about dark stuff, dark, deep stuff. The fact that my ascending sign, my rising sign is in Pisces. Now we could get into deeper shit. Well, let's talk about religion. Let's talk about spirituality. Let's talk about astrology. And then the opposite side of Pisces, the opposite polarity of Pisces is Virgo. So, you know, when you come to my home, you'll definitely find a very cozy, comfortable home, because it rules domesticality, right? And I try to make sure that my house is welcoming, and my kids are, you know, need the basic necessity of life: school, health, roof over their head. Okay. Now this is where it really gets a little dramatic. So Rahu and Ketu, the mythology behind Rahu and Ketu was this demonic dragon. Now, don't forget, I'm talking about the North Node and the South Node. That's how it's described in Western, or I should say tropical astrology. In the Vedic sidereal, it is Rahu and Ketu. Rahu and Ketu. One demon, one dragon, where his head was cut off because he drank, or he was in the process of drinking, and actually did drink something to make him immortal, disguised itself, and by the time the gods knew what was going on, they cut his head off. And they were like, oh no, this drink is not for you. We ain't trying to make a demon immortal here. But it was too late. So it did become immortal. So the head part about it, the Rahu, the northern lunar part, because it represents chaos, it represents the extreme, whether it's good or evil, is the head of this demon. I'm talking about mythology now, okay? We're going into Vedic sidereal, right? So when you hear Rahu and Ketu, it's pretty much the same. My Rahu is in Sagittarius. This is the chaotic, extreme part of who I am. Risk takers. People that want to go into higher learning, spirituality, expansion, changes. I get bored easily because my Ketu is in Gemini. Gemini is the same way. Gemini gets bored very easily. They need stimulation, mostly intellect stimulation, just like Sagittarius. And so, yes, there is it could, you know, you could use it for good. Your North and South nodes, your Rahu and Ketu, you could use it for bad things. It happens. It happens depending on the person, right? But Rahu represents obsession. So I am obsessed. Sometimes to the point where, I'll tell you the truth, I've turned down dates just to get on camera. I turned down a date last night, by the way. At first I said yes. Then, I don't know what came over me. Something came over me and said, oh, no. You have this, and this to do. That was the extreme side of my Rahu, this obsession with wanting to research and speak in front of you to teach you something. And my Pisces ascending, my poor Pisces ascending was like, well, why did you do that to that guy? Because, you know, Pisces is all about mercy and compassion. And I felt both. I was like, fuck that. I have shit to do. Let me cancel. Of course, the guy was mad. But that's, you know what, folks? I'll tell you something, too. My Saturn's in Cancer. So Rahu is a characteristic of Saturn. So not surprising that I turned down a date. A lot of my relationships have not been the greatest. I picked the wrong people in my relationships. Saturn is the planet of time. It's restriction. It's limitation. So the fact that Rahu, the North Node, represents some aspects of Saturn. One of them is obsession or limitation. You know, it wasn't meant for me. Where is Saturn? Where are you, Saturn? Look at this. Look what Saturn represents. Social order, conformity, limitation, restriction. It wasn't meant for me to go on a date because all Sagittarius wants to do... Where's my Saggy? All Sagittarius wants to do is higher learning, scholastic research, right? Because that's me. You know, my moon. So I had mentioned in part, the last part that clicked off, part 5, that the moon has a lot to do with the placement of your North Node. Mine happens to be in Sagittarius. So for my moon to be in Aquarius, it doubles. No matter where your placement is, it doubles with Sagittarius because Jupiter has all these moons. And there's 4 big moons that affects a planet, especially right now when it's orbiting closer to the Earth. It affects who you are, your consciousness, your internal and external crisis. There's going to be some with Rahu. You will have some type of external crisis, depending on your moon. Sucks if you're a Sagittarius moon, but mine happens to be in Aquarius. And what is Aquarius? Let's look at Aquarius. My moon is in Aquarius. I'm going to show you what Aquarius means. So, tell me if I'm like meant for relationships. What is Aquarius? So my moon in Aquarius is an air sign, represents intellectual. Air signs usually represents intellect, right? Cult leader. Group consciousness. Obstacles and hurdles. Ooh, am I feeling obstacles and hurdles constantly with my relationships? And then I have a connection with the universal human family, which is humanity. Your Aquarius is all about humanity. So when I connect that with my moon sign, which is Aquarius, with my North lunar node, I just was not meant to be in relationships. Especially because my Cancer, where's Cancer? I'm laughing, but it's like really not funny. I already told you what Saturn means, right? Conformity, limitation. It means restriction. Cancer is ruled by the moon, by the way. My Saturn, which is the represents some aspects of Rahu, your north lunar node. This obsession. All this is restricted for me. I'll get it someday, maybe, I don't know. But my relationship has basically been pulled underneath my feet. Like they don't work out for me. But Cancer represents father and mother. I have neither my father or my mother. I lost them at a young age, I would say. Not that young, but young for me. I wish I had them around, either at least one of them. It represents foundation. I've been in long-term relationships, and I've been very domesticated, right? That's the Virgo side of me, as well as Scorpio, that fixicity of trying to make a relationship work. It just never works out. And even if you have, like, let's say I got married early, it just wouldn't work out. I probably would have had 2-3 divorces. And maybe in my mature age, my older age, I probably would have found somebody. Because Saturn, even though it's a karmic planet and a planet of time, the planet of time, planet restriction, karma, there is good karma, and it does come around, and eventually you'll get those blessings. Saturn is not 100% bad at all. If you came to this earth to do what you needed to do, like I told you in part 5, what were you supposed to conquer? Okay, what is the obsession that you had? Then you pretty much will you'll be fine. It just takes time. So I'm showing you this because this is my Saturn. And then Ketu. Oh, by the way, it also represents money and real estate. I've never really had any problems with money and real estate. Well, real estate, I mean, money, Sagittarius is a planet of good fortune. So I must say, just when I'm down on my luck, Sagittarius, Jupiter, that Jupiter energy always comes through for me. I'm not going to lie. I've been very lucky. What else did I want to talk about? Ketu. So Gemini, I did Gemini a little bit, but Ketu I have Ketu, my South Node, in Gemini, and it represents internal changes. And Gemini is all about community and family and friends. It's these South and North nodes, they represent eclipses, lunar cycles. They're sudden changes. Lunar cycles they don't orbit around the Earth, in 90 days or, 90 years. They orbit around the Earth every 28 to 30 days, right? So they're sudden changes. Ketu is actually the body of the demon that I was telling you about. So it does represent some internal changes, and you're here to find out or to care about what it is that you're here to conquer, or did you do it? Did you conquer it? Ketu is the reflection of Mars. So here we have, remember, this is the North Node. This is Ketu. Is it surprising that it's under Saturn? Check what's in your Saturn. Check what planet. rules Saturn for you in your birth chart. Like I was just talking about, mine is Cancer. It's gonna give me some type of limitation. No, it will. And then Mars is Ketu. It is the reflection of Mars. Check. And I'm not pointing at where exactly these are, because the North and South Node are obviously here, Rahu and Ketu, but they are reflections of Saturn and Mars. This is basically the, if I had to say it, it controls or it influences your life depending on the Saturn. You know, it controls the forces of situations and influences who you are, especially with the Mars over here. Where does your Mars fall on? Mine falls on Scorpio. I hope that was as simple as I can get. So if you listen to astrology enough, you'll know that Rahu and Ketu exist, and if you're wondering what Rahu and Ketu is, it's just your North and South Node. And yes, they do go through the houses. Moons go through houses. Right now we're in Aries moon. I was saying in part 5 how stuffed up and sick I am, but you know that never stops me from doing a video. All right, well, I think I'm gonna click off here, boys and girls. You know, I appreciate everybody who has subscribed to me. I appreciate those who watch my video. I appreciate those who support me. If you have any comments, likes, share, subscribe, I would love to hear that. I hope that I have explained the MC, which is your lunar node, your North lunar node on your birth chart. I hope I explained that to you. Your IC, which is your South lunar node, which is your, it is your spirit. It is the polar opposite of your spirit. I hope I explained your rising and ascending, which is the mask that you wear, which personality you're going to be that day, outward personality, which is the pivotal point of what time you were born. What spirit did you take on? So the sun and the rising has a lot to do with each other, with your personality. I also said that don't be surprised that those signs repeat itself. And so if you're ascending and your sun sign are, let's say your ascending or your rising sun, which is the same thing, is Virgo, and your sun sign happens to be in Gemini, don't be surprised if either of those two personality traits, Pisces, sorry, mine is in Pisces, but what did I say, Virgo? If your ascendant was in Virgo rising and your sun sign was in Gemini, don't be surprised if it repeats itself either in your moon sign, your Venus, your Mars. It will repeat itself. There's only 180 degrees when you look at the zodiac wheel, half of it is only 180 degrees. It really is. If you count the entire thing, it is 360 degrees. So 180, 180. They all have polar opposites. Every sign has polar opposites. Remember I went through this, part 5, Aries, Libra, Taurus, Scorpio, Gemini, Sagittarius, Cancer, Capricorn, Leo, Aquarius, Virgo, Pisces. So we have 180 degrees here, 180 degrees here, which comes out to 360 degrees on the zodiac wheel. Esoterically, it just breaks it down to 6. Because you embody both of those traits, right? More than the other, but you still embody some of the traits, if not one. And that's about it, you know. I know with Vedic sidereal, I got very mythological on you. But that's the whole essence of astrology, the mythology part about it, as well as the pinpointing and calculation of the constellation, and also how this affects you in the extreme way. All right, that's what I want you to understand in part 5 and part 6. So I'm sorry I had to click off in part 5 without saying goodbye. It was not done intentionally. This is the end of the video. I wanted to talk about Rahu and Ketu, so I'm glad I was able to do it in another video. Please call me, not call me, but you could definitely call me if you know me. You know, email me. I'll leave my email as well. I do private readings. So, all right, I'm clicking off. Goodbye.